You help fast. You carry more than people notice. And after helping everyone, you still end up feeling invisible. That is not random. There are 8 hidden patterns behind it, and the last one is the reason being needed can still leave you feeling unseen. Number 1. The immediate yes. Your phone lights up. Someone needs something. And before your brain even finishes processing the request, your mouth is already forming the word yes. Not because you wanted to, not because you had the time, but because saying anything else felt physically dangerous. That instant compliance, that reflexive availability, looks like generosity from the outside. It feels like suffocation from the inside. The illusion is that you're simply a helpful person. The mechanism is far more precise. Your nervous system learned somewhere early that being needed was the safest way to be valued. Hesitation felt like rejection risk. Delay felt like abandonment bait. So you optimized. You became the person who always answers, always shows up, always delivers. You built an identity around immediacy, and the trap closed so quietly you never heard it. You didn't choose constant availability. You survived your way into it. Number 2. The invisible sacrifice. There's a meal you reheated 3 times because someone kept calling. There's a workout you abandoned mid-set, a nap you never took, a thought you never finished. These aren't dramatic losses, they're microscopic ones. And that's exactly why they're so devastating. The emotional cost of constant availability doesn't arrive as one catastrophic event. It accumulates in the negative space of your own life. The hours that belong to you but quietly became someone else's. You feel the exhaustion, but you can't point to a single moment that caused it. That's the illusion. Because no individual sacrifice seemed significant, the total weight becomes invisible, even to you. You begin to wonder if you're simply weak. You're not. Your baseline energy is being continuously drained by a system that was never designed to refill itself. Every yes that costs you something is a withdrawal from an account nobody else knows exists. Number 3. The boundary vacuum. Here's what happens when you never say no. People stop checking whether they should ask. The pause that healthy relationships contain, that brief moment where someone wonders, is this too much, disappears entirely. You trained it out of them, not through weakness, through consistency. You showed up so reliably that your limits became conceptually invisible. The boundary vacuum isn't their cruelty, it's your adaptation made permanent. You learned that preemptive availability prevented conflict. It kept the emotional temperature low. It protected you from the particular pain of being called selfish or difficult. So you removed friction entirely. You became frictionless. But friction in human relationships is actually information. It tells people where you end and they begin. Without it, you don't feel like a whole person to them. You feel like a resource, a function, something to access, not someone to consider. And you built that dynamic brick by invisible brick. Number 4. The effort illusion collapse. Cognitive consistency is a quiet psychological force. Once someone categorizes you as always available, their brain stops registering your effort as effort. It's not ingratitude, it's architecture. The human mind treats predictable inputs as background noise. You know this feeling intimately. You rearranged your entire afternoon. You pushed through exhaustion. You cancelled something that mattered to you. And when you delivered, on time, completely without complaint, the response was a simple thanks. No acknowledgement of what it cost, because to them it cost nothing. You are the person for whom things are simply easy. The illusion of effortlessness is something you perfected so well, it became your cage. Your competence became a hypervigilance loop. The better you performed under pressure, the more pressure arrived. You stopped being seen as someone who chooses to help. You became someone for whom helping requires no choice at all. That erasure is its own quiet grief. Number 5. The reliability penalty. There is a specific, maddening trap embedded in being trustworthy. The more you prove you can be counted on, the higher the volume of requests climbs. Your reliability doesn't earn you rest, it earns you more responsibility. This is the reliability penalty. The paradox where your greatest strength becomes the precise mechanism of your exhaustion. You've watched it happen. The colleague who delivers late gets gentle extensions. You deliver early and receive a new deadline before the old one's celebrated. The friend who cancels plans is handled carefully, given space. You cancel once, and it registers as a personal failing. The loop tightens. You can't afford to underperform because you've established a standard no one will quietly lower for you. So you maintain it. You sustain the unsustainable because the cost of dropping it feels higher than the cost of carrying it. That calculation is the penalty, and it compounds daily. Number 6. The gratitude fade. Gratitude has a half-life. When something arrives consistently, appreciation for it decays. This isn't a moral failure in the people around you, it's a neurological certainty. The brain habituates to comfort, and you have made yourself the most comfortable thing in their lives. The emotional consequence of this is a particular kind of loneliness. The loneliness of someone surrounded by people who rely on them completely and almost never see them. You feel it at the end of a long day when you've given everything and received, at best, an assumption that tomorrow will look identical. There's no hostility in their forgetting to notice. There's something almost worse, indifference through comfort. You've become so woven into the fabric of their daily functioning that gratitude would feel strange to them, like thanking the floor for being flat. And you stand there, exhausted, quietly furious at yourself for needing something as simple as acknowledgement. Number 7. The unseen resentment loop. Here is the trauma paradox that lives at the center of all of this. You resent the very dynamic you worked hardest to create. Every time someone takes your availability for granted, a quiet anger rises. But it cannot surface cleanly, because surfacing it would require admitting you needed something different. And needing something different means risking the only version of yourself that ever felt safe to be. So the resentment loops inward. You don't get angry at them. You get angry at yourself for being angry. You call it weakness. You call it ingratitude. You perform renewed generosity as penance for the resentment you weren't supposed to feel. This is hypervigilance of the emotional interior, policing your own reactions with the same ferocity you use to manage everyone else's comfort. The loop sustains itself beautifully and destroys you quietly. You can't grieve a boundary you never named. You can't mourn a need you never admitted you had. That unseen grief is the loop's fuel. Number 8. The disposable constant. This is the one that sits heaviest. After everything, after all the sacrifice, the exhaustion, the looping resentment, the invisible cost, the identity-level wound is this. You became essential and invisible simultaneously. The disposable constant. You are the person no one could function without and the person no one fully thinks about. Your absence would create immediate chaos, but your presence creates no ceremony. You are not celebrated. You are used, not maliciously, but thoroughly. And somewhere beneath the competence and the reliability and the endless yes, there is a version of you that originally just wanted to matter. That wanted to be chosen, not defaulted to. To be someone's first call out of desire, not desperation. The deepest illusion of the availability trap is that being indispensable is the same as being loved. It is not. Indispensability is logistical. Love is deliberate. You built a fortress of usefulness around a need for belonging, and the fortress kept everyone close while keeping that need permanently out of reach. You were not wrong to care. You were surviving with the tools you had, but you are allowed to become someone harder to reach, not because you matter less, but because you finally understand that you matter enough.